Hey guys, I'm glad you stopped by. Today, talking turkey. We are going to brine. We're going to use a saltwater brine to let our turkey set in. And what that's going to do is it's going to make that meat nice and tender, juicy versus dry, and we're going to be able to infuse some flavors in there that we'll put in the brine to let it sit, because we're gonna, after we get the brine made, which is going to be a brine, it's just salt water, but to this one we're going to add some fruit peels, we're going to add some herbs, some fresh herbs, and some salt, hence the saltwater brine. And we're going to let that sit and infuse for a whole day, from now until tomorrow this time, a little later. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all the flavors of the fruit peels and the seeds we're going to throw in the brine, and it's going to help infuse that into that meat and in the skin, and that's important. It'll give that skin a lot of good flavor, not enough to take away from what we'll do when we cook the turkey in the oven, or our roaster in this case, in our case. So I think you're really going to enjoy this way of doing things and be surprised how juicy and how much flavor, extra flavor your turkey has by doing it this way. If you are new to my channel, welcome, glad you stopped by. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. I'm glad you stopped by, and I'm glad you came back. I'm glad you subscribed. All of that is so important. Not only to me, it makes me feel good, but I hope you get something out of it. I'm obviously doing something right, I think. But it also, all that helps keep us out in the algorithm, along with liking, subscribing if you haven't, and sharing, all that's very important. It keeps us relevant and helps to grow our community even larger and even stronger. And that's important to get the word out, so to speak. So comments are always welcomed. I respond to every single comment, good, bad, or indifferent. The only thing I ask is think before you type. It's okay to disagree with me or anybody in the comments. Just think before you type. Be polite. It's okay, but just be polite. Yeah, I think that's it. So why don't we head on over here to the counter, and we are going to go ahead and get started on what we need to do to get the brine together for this turkey. All right, hold on for me 1 second. All right, we're down here at the counter with everything we need and then some. So the first thing I did was went ahead and my turkey is thawed. Now it doesn't have to be completely thawed because we're gonna leave it in brine, so it's gonna sit for another day anyhow. 12 to 24 hours is usually brine time. And we're gonna go ahead and get it out, take the neck and the giblets out of it. If yours comes with that, we'll save that for gravy for Thanksgiving Day. And I patted it dry. Now, as far as turkeys go, you want to get one that will fit into, because you got to get it into a pot of some sort, whether it be your roasting pan or whichever. You're going to need something to put it in so it can brine, and you're going to want to keep it in a cool place, so make room in your fridge. Like, I know this pot will sit in my fridge, and it also holds turkey, so I know I'm cleared there. But when you buy your turkey, you want to make sure that it does not have, it's not pre-brined, not pre-flavored. If it's injected with water, that's okay, but you want to make sure it doesn't have any turkey brine salt or any of that stuff in it, because we're about to add salt to it, and that could turn your turkey into one salty turkey, depending on how much brine the company used to do that. All natural turkeys are usually your best bet. They're a little more expensive, but you're worth it, right? To me, Thanksgiving is like, that's my holiday. Christmas is a great holiday, but I think it's kind of overworked. And we don't do a big dinner for Christmas. We focus more on spending time together as a family. Where Thanksgiving, on the other hand, I think that I am the one who created Norman Rockwell's dinner table for Thanksgiving, and I like to do mine as such. So I do a big turkey with all the trimmings and the side dishes and pies for days and desserts, and I spend a lot of time on Thanksgiving. So yeah, I feel a good turkey is worth it. you know, to pay that little extra for maybe a locally grown, nothing put in it beforehand turkey is well worth the extra. So that being said, do what you can afford, but try to make sure it doesn't have it hasn't been pre-brined, so to speak. But anyhow, enough on that. So first thing we need to do is a little science. For every quart of water you use, it takes a quarter cup of salt. And you want to use, like I'm using kosher salt. I'm using Morton's kosher salt. And in this case, I'm going to use a cup because I want to start with 4 quarts of water. If you're using table salt, you want to go 3/4 cup. And if you are using diamond salt, it's 1 1/4 cup. Crystal diamond salt, and I will leave that down in the description, the exact measurements. But I know for Morton salt, it's 1 cup for 4 quarts, or 1/4 cup per quart. So to get the brine going, I'm going to take 1 cup or 1 quart of water. I'm going to put it in a small stock pot, just like that. And then I'm going to take my ingredients are as follows that's going to go in this. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on so that way we can get it warming up, because we're going to bring this up to a boil. But the first thing I want to put into this is 1 cup of salt, like that. And then we're going to bring this up. We want to start stirring this until the salt dissolves, and then we can add the rest of our aromatics into the container. All right. Our salt is dissolved. All I did was sit here and stirred it. It's not hot by any means yet, but I just stirred it until it disappeared. Right? So now we've got a really, really concentrated salt water, but this concentrate is going to get added to 3 quarts of just regular water. But now what we want to do is go ahead and add some stuff to it. So we've got our salt in there already, and to that I am going to add 1 tablespoon of mustard seed. All right, and it's just, you know, regular old mustard. It's just seeds like you would buy to, oddly enough, make mustard with, or to add to, you know, different things. I use mustard seed when I pickle jalapeno peppers or pickles, you know, things like that. They're great for pickling, basically, or cooking in this case. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of peppercorns, you know, and in this case I'm using a multicolored. I got different peppers in there. There's white pepper in there, black pepper, red pepper, but if whatever peppercorns you have or you like, it doesn't necessarily have to be this fancy peppercorn medley that I have in the jar, by any means. And then we're going to add, this was kind of an interesting one, only because I when we do our turkey, normally if we don't brine it, we add just orange peels and stuff we just peel an orange and add it all to the turkey, right? Unless we make stuffing, which I've learned that depending on where you live, stuffing may not exist. It's called dressing. But orange peels, and lemon peels, and all I did was take my potato peeler, like you would use for your potatoes, and I peeled 3 oranges and 3 lemons. Now, you want to make sure, see that, I don't know if you can see that white on there, or not. Let me look at my, yeah, you want to get as little of that as possible. That's actually really bitter, and you don't want that in your brine. It'll add a little bitterness, but a little bit's okay. It's not gonna hurt anything. But what I did was 3 oranges and 3 lemons. I got the peels off of them. I'm gonna put those in there, right? And you can do more if you like more citrus to it. Yeah, but I try to find a balance. And then after we got that in there, I got 5 large garlic cloves. Now, I still have yet to find out what determines if a garlic clove is large or small. Is it just because it's the largest one of that clove, or that, you know, ball of cloves, or is there a specific diameter? I don't know. So I went with, I mean, if you look at like that one there, it's pretty good size. And I've kind of based everything off of that. So that would be a clove, that's a clove there, pretty good size. But then there's smaller ones. I just consider those half a clove. So I did what would be essentially 5 cloves worth. So I actually have like 7 cloves in here. to balance that out. But you can put as much or as little garlic in it as you want. That's the beauty of this brine, or doing this, is you put in what you like. If you don't like oranges and lemons and you think that's just the weirdest thing ever, you don't have to do it. But I recommend trying it because I thought it was the weirdest. But 5 garlic cloves, and I smashed them with a knife. I just, pounded them flat, opened them up, so that way we could get all that flavor in there. And then the last couple things we're going to add to this is I've got 2 sprigs of thyme, fresh thyme, right here, and I'm going to throw those in there. And then I've got a ½ cup of just fresh sage leaves. And as I dump these in, I'm going to tear them apart real quick so that way I can get that flavor in there. But it's just the leaves, and I'm going to take them, tear them as I dump them in there. That way I can get that, sage flavor going in it. Or you can chop them. You just don't want to tear them before you put them in because they bruise these really easy, and I think it changes the flavor of the sage. But you definitely want them cut because you want that flavor to come out of the leaf. So now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Okay, so we have got our brine is starting to boil here, so with our aromatics. And so what we want to do now is we're going to go ahead and shut this off, and we're going to let this cool a little bit. We don't want to pour that in. I went ahead and since that's enough to do 4 quarts in my stock pot here with my turkey, I just put 3 quarts of water in there. That way when I add that to it, it'll be the 4 quarts, and it'll give me the balance of the salt. But then we have to look to see if we've got it covered, and if the whole turkey's covered. And I'll talk about what to do with that when I come back. All right, I'll see you here in a second. All right, so we have gotten, our brine has cooled, right? We're down to not quite room temperature, but close enough. You just don't want to dump scalding hot water on top of your turkey. I don't know what harm it would do, but it wouldn't do you much good. Okay, so here's some common rules of time versus temperature. All right, quick lesson as I get all this stuff out. You never want to go above 41 degrees Fahrenheit. It's all about keeping cold things cold, hot things hot. 41 degrees Fahrenheit to 210 degrees Fahrenheit, although in reality it's like 190, but for all intensive purposes, 210 degrees Fahrenheit is what's called the danger zone, or the bacteria zone. That's when all the bad bacteria flourish. So you want to keep things either below 41 degrees or above boiling, basically, which is the same thing, principles of pressure canning. So right now we're in that danger zone. All right, our turkey has been sitting out. Our water has been sitting out. It's everything's above 41 degrees, but not boiling. You can do that safely for about 2 hours at most. After that, you need to either get it refrigerated or into or heat it up, one of the two. So we've been sitting here for maybe about 45 minutes total. So we still got a little bit of time, but if I can't get it down below 41 degrees within that 2 hour range, I'm still going to grow bacteria, and we just don't want that. So that's a lesson. Now we've got our aromatics in here with our salt. I already put my 3 quarts of water in here earlier while I was letting that cool. I went ahead, 3 quarts of plain water. And now what do we got to do? Well, if you look, which you can, there we go. I'm still dry on top, right? So I need to figure out how much more water to put in there. And all I'm going to do is, since I have a quart jar, I'm going to fill it up with water, and I'm going to use cold water. I could also use ice if you wanted to rush this process. You could wait to put your you could add 3 quarts of water and then just put some ice in there, or 2 quarts of water and some ice in there, and that way you got your brine. But by doing it the way I'm doing it and then adding it in a quart at a time, I know how much more salt to put in. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in. And it looks like I'm gonna need one more quart of water, and then I'll need a half a cup of salt. Remember, it's a quarter cup of salt per quart. And then after that, we can just go ahead, and I'm going to put my lid on it, and I am going to put it in my fridge. Well, by my fridge, I mean the cooler I have outside. I actually have a refrigerated cooler outside that was given to me a long time ago. But that way it can sit in there, stay below 41 degrees, and start sucking up all that flavor into the meat and the skin. That's important. So when I come back, we'll be able to take this bad boy out of here and cook a turkey. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. Okay guys, so we let that bad boy sit in its brine, almost 24 hours. I don't remember exactly what time it was we did it yesterday, but it's been close. But anyhow, not relevant. So now I went ahead, I dumped all the water off of our turkey, right? And if you buy a turkey and it has this thing in it, you know, which is a thermometer, it's supposed to be a thermometer to help you know when your turkey is done at 165 degrees. Please don't rely on that to know it's time. Just go ahead and throw it in the trash. That's just not worth its time. So I drained the brine off of it, the salt water off of it, but I kept all of this. Yeah, I kept the thyme and the sage and the orange peels and the mustard seed and the peppercorn. Because what I'm going to do with this, as soon as I put my gloves on, I'll keep washing my hands a million times, with handling the turkey. Fowl in general, chickens, turkeys, pheasant, quail, wash your hands. Just that they can easily make you sick until they get cooked and you get all that stuff out of them. So allow me really quickly to introduce you to my 1960s, late 50s, early 60s Westinghouse roaster. We have had this thing forever and a day. I don't even remember whose it was prior to us grabbing it. I think it was Chris's mom's, but I could be wrong. Now, I'm just taking all of this and I'm cramming it inside the turkey, which will help give it flavor. And then what I'm going to do after that is, so very cool story. I don't know if you can see down here. I'm going to show you. I might be able to show you. Well, yeah, I can. Long time ago, the rack disappeared. Pie pans, best thing ever to keep your turkey off the bottom, or chicken or whatever you're using. If you don't have a rack to set it on, or I mean, like we have. This is a small turkey for us. I have a 22-pound turkey, one double this size, that I'm going to cook prior to, and believe it or not, it will fit in here because that's what I cook in here every year. But I can't use the pie pans, and I actually have to take aluminum foil and bring it around the edges here and build this thing up about 3 inches in order to cook. Crazy. So after I get my leftovers in there, the oranges, right, that I used to get the peels off of, I went ahead and took the rest of the rind off, the rest of that white stuff, as much as I could, and I did the same thing with the lemons. And I'm just gonna stuff some of those in here too. I may eat the other, well, at least the oranges, but I don't know about the lemon part. But I'm just gonna throw these in here, some of them inside of it, some of it, on the side of it, because remember, your turkey's gonna give off fat, right? And you want that, but all those juices are going to accumulate down here, and we're just going to baste them back up to the top, on top of the bird. And like I said, I've got foil in here so that way my turkey doesn't mess up the bottom of my pan. Right? Get that in there, and then the last thing I'm going to do, well, second to last thing I'm going to do is I've got some butter here. And this is just set out butter. Every day I set out some butter just to have out, in case we need it, softened bread, whatever. But today I'm going to take it and I'm going to use some of it. I'm going to put it down underneath the skin. Okay, so that way it gets down and helps to with the bird below, the actual meat. And then I am going to rub it all over the top. And I know a lot of people think that at this very moment, this is the most important thing. It's not. This is not the important time to worry about the butter. I mean, it helps. But the biggest thing with the butter at this point is just to give it that nice brown hallmark look, so to speak. So we got that on there, just like that, because remember when we baste this, all those juices are going to hit the bottom, right? And then we'll just keep bringing it back up. Well, that includes this fat right here. So we'll go ahead, grab that, we'll just put that down here towards the bottom. And then the last thing I'm going to do, try to take my gloves off. We got one more thing to put on here really. Oh, I kind of forgot something else. I have some fresh thyme. I don't know if you guys have a favorite fresh herb. Mine is thyme. So I am going to go ahead and cram that in the turkey real quick. Right there. Now that I took my gloves off, but it's alright, I'm going to have to wash my hands one time now, right? Oh, get them wiped off. I have some poultry seasoning right here. Now, if you recall a few minutes ago, all the things we put into our brine, in this poultry seasoning, there is as follows. Sage. We put fresh sage in our brine. Salt. We put fresh salt in our brine. Thyme. Fresh thyme. Oregano we did not put in there. But mustard, this has mustard powder in it, but we put the seed in there. Same thing. Basil we did not put in there, or cayenne pepper, but we did put black pepper in there. That's all that's in here. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to lightly sprinkle it on the top, right? Get it down in that hole over there, down in that hole over there. Yeah, because like I said, once again, it's all going to melt off for the most part. Well, this should stay on a little bit, but as that little bit of butter we have on there melts, it'll go down into these holes, and there's some perforation lines around here too from where I stretched it, right, to get my hand in there, and that'll all sink down in there. Plus we're going to baste it as we go. So we are good to go there. Let me grab the lid. Solid state aluminum, and it has been around forever. I'm sorry, I just absolutely adore this slow cooker to the point where, check this out, so it has a little pan on the bottom, but it also has recipes, cooking times for bread, cake, cookies, pastries, puddings, beef, lamb, veal, pork, smoked and fresh, and fowl, turkey, all on here, so you know what temperature to set it at and how long to cook it for. That's pretty awesome, I think, and something you just don't see anymore, really. So go ahead and get that back down in there. But the time was still the same, and it was 20 minutes per pound. Even on that tray from 70 years ago, it says 20 to 25 minutes per pound. Now which is what I'm going to go for. This is a 12-pound turkey, so we're looking at about 4 hours. And when we get close to that, because of the fact that we had it in a brine overnight and it loosened up and opened up that meat on a cellular level, which will help it be tender, right? But it also allows that heat to transfer through quicker. The muscle's not as tight, in the breast and the leg and the thigh. It's so it's, now that it's loosened up a little bit, that heat's going to transfer through there quicker. So we'll want to keep an eye on it. So I'll go about 3.5 hours, and I have a digital thermometer I'm going to use that I'm going to stick in here, and I'll be able to watch the temperature of it as it cooks until it gets to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So when I come back, we will take a look at our product. Well, we'll probably take a look at it, go over some basting steps and ideas, and then we'll talk about what to do, how to eat it. All right, I'll see you here in a second. All right, so here's what we did. I let it go for 4 hours, right? Now about every 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I did two things. Well, three things if you count taking the lid off. So the first thing I did was take the lid off, right? And remember, when you take off a lid on anything hot away from you, right? You don't want that steam hitting you in the face. It'll hurt. So we get the lid off, which I've already done this the last time and we're done, but I want to show you what to do. Next thing I did was take my baster and I just simply came down here, got some juices, and went all over it, keeping that all intact, right? Yes, that way everything stays moist and ready to fall off the bone. So then the next thing we did after that, by we I mean me, because I'm the only one here, after I got done basting, it was I grabbed a tab of butter, not quite a tablespoon, but just a little slice off the whole thing, and with a gloved hand, I just went ahead and rubbed that butter on there. That way that butter just got down in there, and we turned out looking real nice, I think. Now, I've never had a turkey in a roaster come out, like you see quite in the movies, very dark. Now, you can make it that way. If you're using a roaster like this, you can make it that way. But what I'm looking for is flavor and crispness, and I know I got both in that turkey. Only because this is the way we've done our turkey forever, right or wrong. But let's say I did want to make this, give it that deep golden brown look, like you see in holiday commercials. I could just as easily put this in the oven with the broiler on for about 5 minutes, 10 tops, and brown that skin. Because that's all you're doing is browning that skin. I guarantee this will be a juicy turkey. Now, we've done that. Next thing we got to do is, when we think we're about done, timer went off, it was 4 hours. You want to take your meat thermometer. I wish I had I have a digital one. For some reason, it's not wanting to read at the moment, although the batteries are good. I don't know, but anyhow. So there's two places you can check this at, all right, for doneness. The first place is right in you can check it in the breast. You'll hear people tell you not to do that, but you can do that. What you're going to do is you're going to shove it into the deepest part of the breast, right? And you're going to look for 170 degrees, which I know this one in particular is at 185. So we're good there. The next place you're going to want to look, you can check to get an accurate test, is in the thigh. So you're going to want to come between the drumstick and the breast right into the thigh to hit that meatiest part of the thigh. And once you hit the bone, all right, once you've hit that bone, that thigh bone, back it up, lift, and go all the way in. And then that should read 170, right? Yeah. Or yeah, 170 and 180. So, or what do we do now? We're gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes and rest. That's it. We're not gonna poke it, we're not gonna prod it, we're just gonna leave it sit here and let it rest, and then after that, I'll cut it up and we can try some. All right, see you here in a second. All right, we got her all cut up, right? And she just fell apart like there was no tomorrow. And with every cut, there was just all kinds of juiciness. But I mean, just juice just flowing everywhere. And I heard wishbone. Yeah, that'll be me and Chris's battle here when she gets home from work. But I do want to try this though, just because I don't even know where to start. Because I want to show you. I mean, look how just nice and flaky that is, and it's not dry, not at all. Oh. And the flavors that are in that meat, perfect. Just perfect. We have a tender, juicy, flavorful, and you know how white meat can get on a turkey. They can get dry. They can get very dry on you. and cause you a lot of grief. This is beautiful. The citrus is there, but it's not really heavy. You know, but you can taste that thyme and the sage, and you know, just the slightest hint of that mustard seed. Then you can taste the poultry seasoning that's on top of it, of this skin. You know, that is just to die for. And like I said, with the skin, if you want that, you know, golden brown look, and you are roasting, just put it in the broiler for a minute. I mean, that is perfect. Perfect. If you are interested in trying to brine your turkey, to inject those flavors in like that, this is a good one to do. You know, hands down a good one. That being said, give this a try. Let me know if you do. Thank you for the suggestion of doing this. I'm glad I did. You know, hands down. That is a wonderful recipe. So, till next week, still don't know what we're doing for dinner. Still don't know what we're doing for dessert, but I'm sure it'll be tender. It'll be delicious. I am on the hunt for New Mexico chilies, so that way I can make that enchilada sauce. We can can some of that up. It's really good. You know, you won't be disappointed. It's very easy to do. But until next week for dinner, I love you. I love you very much. Give this a try. You make a turkey like this for Thanksgiving, you're going to see smiles for days, right? Smiles for days. Then you'll have everybody at that table saying, I love you. You can say, I love you back. Yeah, and then everybody feels good, right? So, until next week for dinner, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right? See you later. Bye-bye.